Hello everyone and welcome back to another devlog of my game Project Giant Mech. It has been almost 2 months since my last devlog and I figured now is a good time to share the updates. It took me this long because again half of the development was related to backend updates and performance fixes which would make no visual difference in a video. But I also have made major improvements of the game and added new features. Also, I'm happy to say that the game has reached version 0.2.0. I want to thank everyone for liking and subscribing to my channel and almost reaching my 10 subscribers goal. At 10 subscribers, I will probably do a time lapse of the game progression. This is something that I really want to do, so I figure I'll make a subscriber goal for it. Alright, let's first talk about the major update of the game, which is the true first-person view or body awareness view. This basically means to show the body model and animations while in first-person view. Games like Prey, Dying Light, and Cyberpunk uses TFP to give a sense of feeling that the player has a full body. This was one of the major obstacles in my project because this is something that I have not done before and required lots of research and testing. But now I can say I have finally achieved this and it feels really good to see it in action. It goes really well with the game. I will share the resource links that I used to achieve this in the description below. To achieve TFP, I had to use both baked animation and procedural animation. For the baked animation, I had to make the running, jumping, and dashing animation in Blender, and then later use the Unity's mechanism to set up the animation calls. Then for the weapon grabbing, I had to use procedural animation for holding the weapons properly because different weapons have different way of holding them. So procedural animation allows me to make the weapon grab dynamic, which means I can make the weapon models any way I want and not worry about making different animations just for holding different weapons. To make the procedural animation work was a bit challenging because every time when I enable procedural animation, it would for some reason stop the baked animation from working. Basically, to make the baked and procedural animation to work together, you need to make sure that the animation type is generic and not humanoid and then set the root node manually. I will later make a video on how to fix this issue with more details and information. For now, I'll share a forum post where others had similar issues and how they fixed it. I did make a new assault rifle weapon to test the TFP and I really like how this weapon came out looking, and in future I will give some weapon animations as well. Also, I decided to make all player bullets or friendly bullets yellowish in color so to differentiate between enemies' blue and purple bullets. This may change in future if it doesn't go well with the game. I did a lot of research and testing on how to show the procedural animations related to the weapon. The animations needed to be fast and smooth enough to keep up with the fast pace of the game. So for now, these are the procedural animations that I have done for the weapons, which are to hold weapons, reload weapons, zoom in weapons, change weapons, and have weapon movements while moving. So far, I'm satisfied with it, and while play testing feels right with the gameplay. There is one problem that I haven't fixed yet, and that is applying blend shape key to the player model while wearing clothes. As you can see here, the player model is sticking out from the clothes. This can simply be fixed by using blend shape key. I have already done this fix in a test project, but I haven't applied it in the main project yet. This hopefully will be done by the next devlog. Alright, now let's talk about some visual effect features and updates. The first one is Hurt VFX. For some enemies, I wanted there to be some form of feedback saying that the enemy is indeed getting hurt. I wanted that to be in a visual effect form. So for now, the tank and spawner type enemies will start to show some visual effect once a certain health threshold has been reached. This will really help the player know that the enemy is indeed getting hurt. The second visual effect update is the spawner building one. I felt like the old spawner visual effect was just boring to look at with the arc. I have changed it to something like this with a laser burn to the ground. This one to me feels and looks better than the previous one. Here they are side by side. Tell me which one you guys find it better to look at and feel. I've created two types of menus just to test and have the menu part ready so that when creating the menu, I can just apply it. The first is the loading screen menu. I created this menu mainly for a good friend of mine who could test the game as well. I wanted to make it look like a bit more professional instead of the game just starting off when the game runs. I was testing how to make the loading screen look. Maybe in the future we'll give game tips at the bottom of the loading screen. Next, I created a developer menu for the game. Needed this to test out the game in the build mode. Also, this gave me the opportunity to test out how I would like the menu to look like in the future and how the systems will work. So far, I'm really liking the style of the menu, but will most likely change it in future. Also, if you guys want to know how this menu was done, then let me know in the comments section and I will try to make a tutorial in future about it. Now, let's talk about the performance improvement of the game. Again, like before, this part took me half of the development time, so in this case, a bit over a month. I mean, let's face it, a game can be all flashy and good looking, but without good performance, all those features and eye candies means nothing. So performance to me is the most important part in game development. I'm constantly making sure that the game runs smoothly with 60 FPS, and at the moment the game can reach 120 FPS as well with smooth gameplay. So in my last stress test video, I showed that the maximum number of the hover type enemy I could have was 800 units. I wanted to push that number up to 1000 units. I'm happy to say that the achievement has been reached and I believe I can now go above 1000 units and theoretically maybe go till 3000 units. But this will require further testing. The video I'm showing right now has 1000 units of the hover type enemy. I achieved this by using the pooling system. The pooling system means that certain objects are preloaded and ready to use anytime in the game and not instantiated. Once they are used up, they go back to the pool to be used again later when needed. This gives the illusion that there are lots of objects in the game. So let's take the hover enemy for an example. Before, all enemies would have 20 bullets and a shatter object which contained about 20 game objects in them. Let's do a quick and simple calculation. For every one enemy, there is about 40 game objects. So for 100 enemies, there would be 4000 game objects. That is really performance heavy. Now, with the pooling system, I have taken out the shattered objects and the bullets from each enemy. I preloaded about 200 bullets and 20 shattered objects, which is 400 game objects. So a total of 600 game objects are preloaded and are reused by the enemies. So from this example, I can see that I have reduced 85% of game objects in the game world, but the actual game object reduction for my game is 93.6%, which gave me a really big performance boost and allowed me to have 1000 enemy units. This is one of the optimizations that I have done, and there were plenty more. For example, making my own vector 3 calculations. I have shared lots of optimization and performance tips resource links in my first devlog. If you go to the description there, then you will find all the links that I have shared. While making this game, I came up with a phrase which I keep saying, and that is the 3 R's. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Meaning, reduce garbage collection, reuse codes wherever applicable, and recycle the code architecture through refactoring. So far, a combination of the 3 R's and solid principle are going well for this game. So that is it for this devlog. Let me know what you guys think about the project thus far. Also, please like and subscribe. That will help me a lot with the YouTube algorithm and will also help me to reach my goal of 10 subscribers. I really appreciate you all for coming this far into the devlog, and thank you all. See you all in the next devlog. Take care and stay safe. K out.